Welcome to another exciting segment of On the Move, where we keep you informed and inspired. You know, it has been said that social media has taken a great toll on a lot of people's emotion, their thought life, whether it be being inspired or being informed or being motivated. A lot of people at this particular time and season don't know what to do. And so a lot of people are getting bombarded with different types of thoughts. Yes. So whether they're at a place where they want to lose weight, or they want to change their diets, or they want to change a career, they go on to social media and they'll see a lot of influencers that are doing what we call self-motivation. And it's playing a lot on their thought life. And so we find that they're getting very weary. And what is your thought when it comes to changing our perspective on life?
I say just don't get caught up with all that social media has to offer, right? We can use it in a good way, but there has to be a balance.
Yes.
As we both know, not everything that we see is even real. And so you could be so bombarded, so disheartened by something that really isn't, it's just a fragment of what you think it is.
Right.
So everybody is different. It's not a competition, right? It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And so I say it's what works for you. It's having that self-care routine and just, you as a person, deal with the individual.
Yes.
You can take tips and pointers and all that stuff to help to motivate you, to help to build you, and even seek help if you have to. But don't get caught up in all that we see. That's personally what I think.
That's so good. And it's so true. And change begins with your mindset. Where's your mindset at? We're going to talk about that today. Shifting our mindset, shifting our thoughts. And we have an amazing guest with us this day. So we don't want you to go anywhere. Stick around and we'll be right back after this break.
On the Move. We'll be right back.
Zao say, this is Kurt Diamond and you're watching the greatest thing since butter pan bread. On the Move with Kim and Andrea. And now or later, now or later, we will be greater. Zout say. Oh.
This is On the Move.
Hello and welcome back to On the Move. Thank you so much for staying with us. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest today, Latoya Ming. She is a thought leader, a facilitator, a performance strategist, and one who gives practical strategies for high performance. Welcome to the show, Latoya.
Thank you. I am so excited to be here.
We are so happy to have you.
Thank you.
I want to get into this term. Lots of times we hear titles evolve with time. Mm-hmm. And so performance strategist, let's start right there.
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a performance strategist? What is that?
Well, okay, so my background is in both coaching and consulting. And so I do a lot of work around developing leaders, for example. And when I was thinking about the title, I didn't want to just use the word coach because it's used so broadly now. And it seems like everybody, and you know what I mean? It's just so popular these days. And I wanted to be able to kind of dive down into what do I do? What's the outcome of what I do? And when I look at it on a holistic level, at the end of the day, it's either helping an individual or an organization to perform better. Mm-hmm. And then by doing that, it's really peeling back the layers and seeing what's underneath, what needs to either be removed, whether it's a barrier, what needs to be changed or shifted in order for people to show up as their best every day. And so when I was kind of navigating through what should my title be? A friend of mine was like, I think it's really performance strategist. So I was like, that resonates. Yeah.
That is so good. And your thought when you said that, I quote you, that your whole thing is to feel good to help other people. They can feel really good. But then you talked about 5 different habits that we should have, daily habits that we should have.
Yeah.
Can you just touch a little bit about those habits and what that looks like?
Sure. So the 5 daily habits come from the idea that we spend so much time trying to do something. And sometimes you get like short-term results, but in terms of that long-term impact, it's not really there. And so the idea behind that is to actually become whatever it is that you want to be. So it's more about being than doing. And so the 5 daily habits, it's like we're a measure of what we do on a daily basis, right? And so there's just some fundamental things that I believe is great to set that foundation for success. One of them is to get outside every day. And I know it sounds simple.
That's good.
But so it's a few things. One, no matter what the condition, the air outside is always going to be better for you than the air inside your home or inside a building. Wow. And so when you get outside and you're in nature, you're in the midst of abundance. So it sort of broadens your perspective. Because I like to walk, for example, by the water and it's so vast, or you're in the trees and it's so vast. You're looking at the sky, it's endless. And so it puts you into perspective that, I'm a small part of a big thing. And just that idea of endless possibility and abundance, as well as the exercise and just tapping into nature is really good for you. And I have to remember the 5 that I put down there. But the other one was around prayer and meditation.
Beautiful.
It's a big one, yeah.
Yeah. So prayer and meditation, because, we can go to so many sources for information. But at the end of the day, we want to go to the ultimate source, right? So God is the one that he's omniscient. He knows everything. He knows the end before the beginning. Yes. And so being tapped in keeps us centered. It keeps us in the right mindset. It keeps us really just connected. So as we're making those decisions, we're tapped into the source, right? And then also we want to clear space, clear mind.
Yes.
So tidying up, keeping your space clean. Sometimes when you're not feeling quite right and you look around and you might see some clutter, just actually clearing that space helps to actually clear your mind and helps to put you in a better sense. You know that feeling when you just finished cleaning your house and everything's set and you feel almost that sigh like, ooh, it feels good. It feels clear. So that's another one. And then the other 2 that I had there, I actually have to think, because I know you're talking about a specific Instagram post that I posted, right? So it's tidy up, prayer, meditation, get outside every day, laugh. Okay, so laughter every day, right? Like the Bible talks about being medicine to the bones, and it's actually shown and proven in medical science to be a healing agent. Right? So it's hard to fear and worry when you're laughing. Right? It instills joy.
I love that.
Yeah.
And as I was introducing you, we talk about practical strategies for high performance. Like it's the things we take for granted. It's not even anything we need to go out and necessarily buy or do. It's just practical everyday things that we could do as long as we have a routine. Some time ago, Andrea, we had a segment where we were talking about different performance and health. And that's what one of our guests was saying, just about having a routine.
Taking care of
yourself. As simple as a routine. Like that self-care routine. And it could be, like you said, going for a walk, clearing your mind. And it's really just body, soul, and spirit, everything. I love that.
And it's so true. No, it's so true. And I love what you said in regards to clearing your space. Because when your space is cleared, it actually clears your mind. So when you declutter, it really helps to clear your mind. So that's a very good one to add to your list. I like that.
Yeah, because it's a mindset, right? So even if you're thinking about health and fitness, I remember I had a goal. And I was saying to my coach at the gym, I said, okay, I want to lose, I think it was like 20 pounds or something at the time. He was like, why don't you consider just making your goal to eat well and exercise? Right. And so becoming a person that eats well and exercises on a daily basis will automatically then create the environment, the situation, everything, all the factors needed to lose those 20 pounds. But what it does is after you hit the goal, it's sustainable. Now, because you've cultivated this habit, right?
Focusing on that number.
Exactly. And then when you get there, then what? And so when we're talking about change, the way that I put it is like my focus is on sustainable transformational change. So it's not just change, because you can change, but maybe change for a short while, but it has to be transformational, right? So from the inward, and it has to be sustainable over the long term for it to really, really impact your life.
Absolutely. Yeah. So congratulations are in order. You're a senior contributor for Black on Track. Talk to us about that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So Black on Track is a platform that's really tailored towards the Black community. It's bringing together professionals, and is targeted towards the up and coming professionals, like your 18 to 35-year-olds. And, it's looking at personal finance. It's looking at personal growth and development. It's looking at the arts, right? And so it's a space for collaboration. It's also a space and a resource for information.
Beautiful.
And so my role is going to be contributing to articles and information and resources and tools and tips around the personal development and professional development
That's amazing.
area. Yeah.
That is awesome.
Really excited.
So Black on Track, they collaborate with different organizations. Is that correct?
Not yet, but eventually. Okay. Eventually it will. That's the idea. Right now, it's the collaboration is around different professionals. So you'll have like myself, for example, yes.
Okay.
Or professionals, for finance, like I mentioned, or diversity, or the arts.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's amazing.
It
So
is.
how did that come about though? I know what you do. You explained but like, how did that come about?
In terms of what I do, how did it come about?
Or even just being a
Or
part of it?
Being a part of Black Contract?
Yeah.
Well, so a few things. Before I started my business, I was in the corporate space for many, many years.
Right.
And a lot of us who have now become leaders, whether it's within the corporate space or even leaders in terms of owning our own business and entrepreneurship, feel a responsibility towards those that are coming up behind us. I know even for myself, like I experienced racism in the workplace, ageism. Sometimes I was the youngest person in the boardroom. Sometimes I was the only female, or sometimes I was the only Black person in the boardroom.
Right.
And so what can we now do to help to support those that are coming
Break
up
those
after
barriers.
us? Exactly. So that's where Black Contract comes in. And that's what it's intended to do. So whatever wisdom we've collected, whatever experience, whatever lessons we've learned, we now get to present it back in a digestible way to those that are coming up after us so that they don't start where we started. Right? So each generation should be standing on the shoulders of the other. And how do we do that? By giving them access, by giving them the tools, by giving them the resource so that they can go way beyond whatever we've been able to accomplish and keep that going generation after generation, right?
Absolutely. I love that. I love that. We're going to talk more about that, but we're going to take a quick commercial break.
Okay.
Right? We'll be back right after this message.
On the Move. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to On the Move. We are getting into a great, robust conversation with Latoya Ming, who has created a lane for herself as a performance strategist. So we're going to be talking a little bit more. Talk to us about the podcast. I know that's going really well, and the mellow Mazda tone of the voice and just how you kind of relate that. I love it. But talk to us about how that came about.
Well, I just love learning. I love learning. I love just knowing what's up and coming, what's emerging. And so it was just out of my curiosity to talk to other professionals about things that are helpful to other people. So, whether it's, the importance of having a chiropractor even, because people are sitting at desks so much and, the importance of the body. It's touching on things like diversity and inclusion. And equity in the workplace, and what does that look like, and what's our role, and what should we be striving for? How could we improve that? And so anything really that I have an interest in that I think would also help other people, then I look to interview people and get them sharing their knowledge. Resilience is another great one right now, because of just everything that people are going through. So, just information on what is it, and, how do we cultivate that within ourselves? Why is it important? And just finding different experts on different topics to interview them.
Yeah. Awesome.
I love that. I love that. And the beautiful thing is that you said you interview professionals who are in their field. Is there anybody in particular that you're looking to interview at this particular time?
Oh, that's a great question.
I mean, you're on air, so
I know. Let me.
And now that you're now probably one of the few chances that you're on the other side, we get to ask you that. So.
Right.
Yeah. Who would I want to interview right now? Right now, it's really anyone that has overcome challenges to get to where they need to be, because everyone's story is so unique, right? And so I love having people share their own personal stories and journeys, because a lot of times, I know in the beginning of the segment, you were even talking about social media and seeing what's out there. And what can happen a lot of times is we're comparing ourselves as an individual to somebody who has an entire team around them, right? And so we might be feeling bad about ourselves that we're not presenting in the same way, but we also don't have the same resources. Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so putting that, all into perspective is really, really, really important.
All right. So you guys heard that. People who have overcome their situations, to get in touch with you and talk about that. That's really great.
Yeah.
Great.
So I know in one of your write-ins, you had mentioned that the unspoken rule, right? I want to make sure that I'm quoting you properly, that it's important to know what the unspoken rules are. What does that mean?
Okay, so when we talk about the unspoken rules, every organization has a culture,
right,
and a subculture. And without sometimes people saying it, there's things that you need to understand about what's happening in that organization. You need to walk in, you need to learn the language. And so there's certain things, okay, take for example, and hopefully this will change. But when I was entering into the workforce, I remember my aunt sat me down and she said, listen, as a Black woman, you're going to have to work twice as hard to get the same results as other people. Right. And
Parents
so
still tell their kids that today.
Even today, it's true.
And hopefully that will change. But that really is an unspoken rule. Even being aware of how we might be perceived. Right. So it's interesting. We're all Black women here sitting at the table. And what could be considered assertive,
Right.
or maybe the male gender or another culture might be considered aggressive. Exact same behavior, exact same words. And so when we're talking about communicating, it's not just, am I saying the message or saying what I feel or saying what I want to know? Communication is also being aware of how it's landing.
That's right.
So what are some of the perceptions? What are some of the barriers that might be there? And it's unfortunate because that actually adds a weight, right? So now we're thinking all the time. We're always on. And that's why sometimes, you leave work and you feel tired because you weren't able to just be. You have to now be aware of what these rules are, aware of how things are being perceived.
Before you even get into your craft.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right? And so, again, that's another barrier of performance, really, because if you're in a state of fear, of apprehension, you're not actually bringing your best to the table.
Right.
You're not free to innovate the way that you would or present your ideas the way that you would if you're afraid of how it's going to be received, if you're afraid that it's going to be criticized, if you're, afraid that you're going to be reprimanded, for example. But when you're actually, if those barriers are ever removed, you actually get to bring your best self.
Right.
And you get to really see, what you could deliver. Because a lot of us are delivering at like 50% of our capability because of some of these things, right?
Look at that. Yeah, lots of those systematic things that we need to change for sure.
Exactly. We need to really get to a place where we break down those barriers slowly by slowly. And I know right now, because we're in this season of pandemic and a lot of your clients, how has that affected your business?
Okay, so this is the interesting thing. It's actually created more of a space for it because,
That's good.
yeah, because right now people are in need of support. People are trying to figure things out. People are having to pivot. So a lot of people are making career changes or they're moving from being an employee to an employer, which creates now, how do I do that? What's the new mindset that's needed? What's the new skills that's needed? The other thing too is that a lot of organizations are seeing the need for cultural competence training and education within an organization, which is one of the services that we offer my practice. And so that's really created a space for that as well. And that's one of the interesting things. 2020 has been a challenging year, but I always say challenge and opportunity look the same.
True.
They look the same. It's a matter of how we perceive it, right? And so it is a challenging year, but if we're able to kind of look for the opportunity within the challenge, it helps us to navigate that change a little bit better.
That's awesome.
So it's really created a space for it, which...
It's funny that you said that. I was just given some remarks at a Humber convocation, and that's literally what I talked about, just like finding the opportunity in the chaos.
Yes.
And that's what we really have to do.
Yeah.
2020, if we get bombarded with all that's happening, we can literally sit down and panic and worry about the pandemic and not move and be stagnant.
Paralyzed.
Or we can make a decision to enhance ourselves, look forward, find the opportunity, and even get better. Like, how good would that be for you to say, you know what, in this year of a global pandemic, I actually excelled. I actually did better.
Yeah.
And if we focus on the right things, it's a possibility. It can happen.
Yeah.
Right. So that's awesome.
And focusing on the things is important because it's all in your lens, right? So you can look at it. It's all facts, right? So yes, it's facts that people are losing their jobs. Yes, it's facts, but it's also facts that people have become billionaires in the midst. Like a lot of these companies, when you look at their earnings within 2020, it's like 20 billion, 9 billion, like Walmart, all these other firms, right?
For real?
So they're right. So both things are happening, right? There are some bad things that are happening, but there's also opportunities that are happening too.
Yes.
So yeah, being able to find what that is and focus on it.
That's amazing.
It's good. It's very good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell the viewers where they can find you, how they can get a hold of some of your services. Tell the viewers.
Yes.
Okay, so you can find me at latoyaming.com, also on Instagram at latoya.ming as well. And so, if you're an organization, our firm is able to help. But also if you're an individual that's looking for coaching, that's looking to remove some barriers in your life, that's looking for greater self-awareness, or even to understand your strengths and how you can use those strengths for the next chapter in your life, we're here to help. So looking forward to connecting. Yeah.
All right. It's so great to have you. And before you go, we do have a thing called Inspirational Corner, which Kim is going to be presenting today. But I heard it said that you are a thought motivator, like you motivate through thought, right? And before we go, I want you to just look into the camera, because there may be somebody right now who is going through a particular thing in their life. And if you can just, as a person who deals with the mind and helping people, just a few words of encouragement to help to inspire them.
Okay. This is what I would say. I know that, there's a lot of believers even that are watching this. And so one of the things that's been on my heart is that, this is a time where a lot of people are dealing with anxiety, dealing with depression, dealing with different things. And there could be a shame that comes along with that, because you're thinking, hey, if I have a relationship with the Creator, I shouldn't feel like this. And now it's layered, because now you're feeling this, but then you're also feeling guilty for feeling how you're feeling. But the fact of the matter is, it's not new. This is even in the Bible. There's scriptures around it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. And so my encouragement is to, one, know that you're not alone.
That's right.
And to know that there's help, to know that there are resources that are available to help you through. And that perspective is everything. Right? So it's not just what has happened, but it's how we framed it in the story that we create around it. And if we're able to reframe the story, then, that's where you're now able to transition from being a victim to a victor, to transition to being an overcomer and a survivor. And your life, there's a saying that perhaps God gave you this mountain to show others that it could be moved. And, so your story can become really a roadmap to somebody else to help them through. So we're here to help. You're not alone. And be encouraged.
All right. Thank you so much, Latoya. That was so great to have you.
Thank you.
Great. All right. So you heard it. So if you are in need of any kind of help, counseling, coaching, please contact Latoya Ming Coaching and Consultant Services. Thank you so much. We'll be back right after this message.
Hello and welcome to our Inspirational Corner. As we are talking today about the mind and about social media and how we perceive things, it's so important that we remember to have a self-care ritual and routine amidst all the hustle and the bustle that can really keep us grounded. Whether that be going for a walk, whether that be our daily meditation, and not to get caught up in all that we see. While we want to certainly enhance and excel ourselves, definitely the individual is who we need to take care of more. And that to remember that in everything, we can certainly find the opportunity. So commit to that self-care ritual. Go ahead and enhance yourself, but don't get caught up in all that we see. Until next time, this has been On the Move, where as always, we keep you informed and inspired.
And as always, remember to follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, on The Move 77, God's Perfect Number. We also invite you to join us and to sponsor the show. If you love this broadcast and enjoy the episodes, there's plenty of ways that you can sponsor us. So please message us for more information on sponsorship. And until next time, same place. Take care.